Hey, what's up guys, it's Dom from Hole Printing Inc. In today's exciting video, I'm sharing with you guys what is the best DTF printer to buy. So some of you might be taking a look at my recent videos, watch this before you buy a DTF printer. Click on the video right here if you haven't already, and make sure you take a look to understand if DTF printing is right for you before you even consider an investment in DTF. Now, if you ruled out all of the pros and cons and you still want to jump headfirst into DTF printing, this video is for you. My name is Dom. I own Hole Printing Inc. I've been in the printing industry for years. I've worked with many big corporations and I help you on your daily DTF journey. So there's a few key points to take into consideration before considering to buy your first ever DTF printer. I cover a bunch of different topics in a bunch of videos I made on YouTube. This video is more appropriate on which model is best for you, not necessarily if you should buy one. I'm guessing that if you're watching this video right now, you are pretty much sold on the idea of buying your very own DTF printer. Now, number one, is this your first DTF printer? If it is, there's a few things I want to cover. If it's not your first DTF printer, I would still suggest to stick along because I'll have more advanced options as we move further into this video. So number one, we have the DTF L1800 by ProColored. ProColored has good after sales support. I am not affiliated with that company. However, I have still partnered with them for over 4 years. They help me when I have problems with my DTF printer. And overall, I've had 4 DTF ProColored L1800 DTF printing machines. And I can say with confidence, if you're just starting out, this is one of the best models you can start off with. It's low cost. It's pretty easy to use when it comes to software, and as I said, I have a membership that you guys can join if ever you're not too sure what the next steps are. There's after sales support from around 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time all the way to 9 a.m. So if you are able to stay up late at night, you will fall within that warranty if you buy directly from them, and they'll be able to assist you with all of your needs. And like I said, we do have the membership, so we can answer you between anywhere from, let's say, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. when ProColored is not available. So you have a lot of support available for you, and not to mention that there's a bunch of videos on YouTube that are free to consume that have a bunch of daily tips and tricks, maintenance, software. Pretty much everything about that printer is covered online, so it's a safe bet. The initial investment is a bit high. I'm not too sure the exact price, but however, it's still a good machine if you're just getting started and you want to have some after sales support. So that's option number one. I'm going to take the camera now and show you. The printer is covered because we're no longer using it, but it might look something like this. Now we're currently doing some maintenance on it, but this is how the printer looks. And it's pretty straightforward. Once the sheet is, printed, you put some DTF powder on it, and then you bake it in an oven like this, or you can use a heat press or any other oven for that matter. So I would say the DTF L1800 would be my number one choice for starting your DTF journey. This initial investment is a bit high, however, it's going to give you the time to understand if DTF is right for you. And let's say for some reason it's not for you and you decide to go another printing method or another printer, you can always resell that printer. So do take into consideration the DTF L1800 is a bit slow to print. So whether you buy it brand new, you buy a used one for us, or you buy a used one locally, you do have to take into consideration that there's a lot of things that goes into it. It's quite long to print a 11:16 transfer. So let's say a transfer around this size is going to take around, I would say, 15 to 20 minutes until it's properly printed. You need to apply powder, and then you're looking at another 3 to 4 minutes inside the DTF oven. So it's bringing up your total time to print a 11:16 transfer to around 15 to 25 minutes depending on a few variables. So you take that into consideration. Depending on how much production you need to do, you can print at around, maybe I would say 50 to 100 transfers maximum per day at that size, and it's pretty much a full-time job, and that's not counting production. You also need to press the DTF transfers on garments, right? So it is a lot of time. It's time consuming, and if you have medium to large size production, I do not think personally the DTF L1800 is good for you. You're going to want something a bit more commercial. So I'm going to show you guys my DTF commercial printer in the back, and we'll compare some pros and cons, and you can make the decision of what DTF printer is right for you. So moving on, here we have an absolute beast. This is the DTF Yuxanda 4-head DTF printer. It comes with a shaker, and this model actually doesn't exist anymore. They've made a newer model. Now, I'll be completely honest, I am always transparent with you guys. I hate the Uxanda after sales support. They were of no service at all, so I do not recommend this company whatsoever. I would stay far away from Uxanda personally. I can't say that there was no support, but I did not feel supported compared to how ProColored treated me. So for when it comes to Uxanda brand, I would personally stay away from it. However, I did get this printer from a company that was closing at a ridiculously low price, so obviously I pulled the trigger, I bought it, I converted my electricity. You'll also need some special electricity if you get a wide format printer. It has 4 print heads. Each print head is around $1,500, and we have 4 of them. So if all of the 4 print heads break, we're looking at an investment of around $6,000. So it's more expensive to replace 4 print heads on this printer than to buy a brand new ProColored. However, the speed is incomparable. For 4 heads with this specific printer, it takes me around 1 minute to print a 11x16 transfer. You heard that correctly. Let's say I have 100 transfers to do. It's going to take me around 100 minutes. That is ridiculously low. If I was to print 100 transfers with a DTF L1800, it's going to take me days and days. So when it comes to speed, this printer takes the win. However, quality, I do have to say that when it comes to quality, the ProColored L1800 is incredibly more color accurate. The vibrancy is amazing. The white lines around your DTF prints are almost non-existent. Calibrating 4 heads is hard enough, but also the fact that there's little to no tech support on this printer, I'm pretty much learning as I go. It's given me a lot of trials and tribulations when it comes to color accuracy, quality, and also the white lines around the prints. So again, this is mostly to compare the desktop printers versus the commercial printers. It's not necessarily the brand. I can speak for ProColored, and I do vouch for the DTF L1800 printer if you're just starting out. If you have a lot of big clients and lots of productions like we do, I would suggest a DTF commercial printer. Now, this is where it gets interesting. There's a lot of desktop printers to choose from, but there's even more commercial printers to choose from. Your setup might look something like this if ever you are to pull the trigger. You're going to have to convert your electricity. You're gonna have to buy the printer. Obviously, you need quite a lot of space. We're looking at around 15 feet minimum of length, and around, I'd say, another 15 or 12 feet of width. So you have a lot of space you need to be able to have your own commercial printer. You need ventilation. The fumes of the DTF oven can go outside. And also you need a lot of financing when it comes to buying supplies, rolls. Everything is bigger, right? So the initial investment is quite high. You need to have a specific computer when it comes to printing out your transfers. When stuff breaks, it's a bit overwhelming, especially if you buy it secondhand and you don't have after sales support. So what I would suggest, to make this video very short and sweet, buy the DTF L1800 printer if you're starting out and you just have a few clients. This will give you a better understanding if DTF printing is right for you. Now, if you've been printing for a while, or even if you're new to DTF printing but you want to go with force and you want to serve your big clients, you want to skip the steps of having a DTF L1800 printer and you want to go big right away, you can still buy a commercial printer. Now, the commercial printer I'm showing you in this video, unfortunately, I would not recommend it just for the trials and tribulations I had. However, there's a bunch of options out there. Make sure you look for trusted brands. If you're buying it from China, make sure there's good reviews and it's a trusted company that's been there for a long time. If you're buying from the US, make sure you have warranty and you have after sales support and technicians. Anywhere you can get a technician for a DTF commercial printer, do it, because let's say you buy it from China, you're the technician. They're going to guide you step by step if they're a well-known company. However, you're still the one that's going to have to do the repairs. And stuff breaks. It's commercial, it moves quickly, stuff can happen, and a lot of expenses can go out of the bank account if you're not careful. And even when you're careful, bad stuff happens. To recap, DTF desktop printer, if you're just starting out or you're doing this more as a side hustle, or even if you have a big printing shop and you just want to offer it to the client here and there for samples, whatever the case may be, you can go with the DTF L1800. If speed and volume is important for you, however quality is not the #1 factor, I would most definitely invest into a DTF commercial printer. There's a bunch of different brands and there's also different qualities. I know that Oddly is a pretty good quality, and I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but Mimaki, the Mimaki printer, I know it's probably made in the US, and there's after sale support. Even if you're in Canada, they have technicians that are going to come out, probably do the installation for you. Again, I can't speak from experience, but this is what I've been hearing. However, the initial investment is upwards of $20,000 to $40,000, everything included. 20,000 US to 40,000 Canadian, depending on from who you buy it and what you're buying with it. You have the DTF printer, you have the oven, you have the software, you have a bunch of stuff to purchase. There's not a right answer. DTF L1800 is a lower investment, takes a lot more time, but it can get your toes wet in DTF printing to see if you like it. If you already know you love DTF printing, I would most likely invest into an Oddly printer or a Mimaki printer if you want better quality and a more robust printer. However, last thing I want to say about DTF commercial printers, the Uxanda 4-head DTF printer, in my experience and what I've seen at printing expos, is by far the quickest printer I've ever seen. It prints so quick. The printer I have right here prints so quick, it's almost unheard of to have a DTF transfer printed in under 1 minute. It's obviously longer by the time it gets baked, cured in the oven, etc. However, the actual printing speed is ridiculously fast. The Mimaki, I know from videos I've seen, is not comparable to what I was showing you, because the Mimaki only has 2 heads. You might want to wait until you have a more stable option. Maybe you want to invest into the Mimaki brand because you know the quality is very good and you know that you'll have after sale support and a certified technician. But maybe speed is very important for you, so that's where you might go to China for a 4 and 5 head printer. However, I'm speaking again from experience, I would rather have the Mimaki and it printing a bit more slowly, but the quality is better and the consistency of my prints is better, and not having to babysit the printer when it's printing. I can just let it do its thing. However, every single DTF printer has their pros and cons. For us, we're going to stick with the DTF Uxanda printer for a while. We've had some problems with it, but now it's pretty much stable. I'm getting the hang of it. And also, we have a bunch of supplies, and I'm not sure about Oddly, but for all of these supplies we have in a bunch of rolls, it will not be useful for the Mimaki if ever we were to do the switch. Mimaki uses their own ink, their own transfers. It's pretty much a Mimaki brand, so you're buying their ink, their transfers, and their powder if you want the best results. And I believe in that. I believe that the company is entitled to providing you with the best quality materials. That means that they boycott anything that's not their brand to ensure a better printing quality. I'm all for it. However, it is something to take into consideration. If you have a bunch of extra supplies, I would suggest you use them up before you make the switch to something better or bigger or just something different. So hopefully you guys know if you should invest into a desktop printer or a commercial printer. In my personal opinion, everybody should start with a desktop printer to see if they like it, and if they love it, then they could switch over to commercial. Just make sure you do your own research when it comes to buying the best commercial printer. If ever I get the Mimaki printer, I'll let you know. I'm not necessarily looking for an Oddly printer at the moment. I lean more towards Mimaki from what I'm seeing online. However, I haven't seen it in person. I've seen it at one printing expo, and I found that it was printing a bit slowly, but the prints did look amazing. Do your own research, and again, the only reason I'm not suggesting my printer, even though it prints quickly, is that the actual company itself that makes these printer, I haven't found a nice relationship with them. So that's why I'm not suggesting you guys with the printer we currently have. The second that we change with a brand or a printer that we vouch for, I'll most definitely make an updated video on what DTF printer is the best to buy, so you guys can make a more educated decision. However, hopefully in this video I gave you guys some good pointers so you can make a decision for yourself. If you guys found this video somewhat helpful, make sure to leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe if you're new. This was Dom from Whole Printing Inc. Make a print you'll never forget.